page 45, the second paragraph, the last paragraph. After I returned to this country, I stayed at Kennin Monastery for a few years. That temple gave someone this position of the Tenzo in name only, without him really doing it at all. He did not yet discern that this was Buddha's work. How could he possibly understand and comply with the way? Sincerely, we must have compassion for those who never meet a true person and recklessly tear apart the conduct of the way. I saw that this monk never once supervised breakfast and lunch. He entrusted it to a servant without brains or feelings and ordered him to take charge of all matters, large or small. The Tenzo never went to see whether things were done correctly or not. It was as if there was a woman next door and he went to visit it. If he went to visit it, it would be a shame or fault. He occupied an office, sometimes taking naps, sometimes having chats, sometimes reading sûtras, and sometimes chanting, for many long moons not going near a pot. Moreover, he did not buy the utensils or carefully consider the various menus. How could he have known his job? Needless to say, he had never ever dreamed of the 2 daily occasions for making 9 prostrations. When it was time to train novices, he didn't know anything. How pitiful and sad. He was a person without a way-seeking mind who never had the chance to see anyone with the virtue of the way. Although he had entered the Jewel Mountain, he returned empty-handed. Although he had arrived in the Jewel Ocean, he came back with a worthless body. You should know that even though he had never aroused true mind, if he had met one example of an original person, he could have practiced the way. Even though he had never met a true person, if he had deeply aroused his mind, he could have hit upon the practice of the way. Since both were missing, how could there have been any benefit? As I observed the people who were devoting themselves for a year to the jobs of temple administrators or head of monastic departments in the various temples of Song China, each of them maintained 3 essential attitudes of abbot whenever they performed their jobs, encouraging themselves to strive at their tasks. Benefit others, which simultaneously gives abundant benefit to the self, make the monastery thrive and renew its high standards, aspire to stand shoulder to shoulder and respectfully follow in the heels of our predecessors, clearly know that there are fools who treat themselves as indifferently as others, and there are honorable people who consider others as themselves. An ancient said, 2/3 of a lifetime has swiftly gone. On the spiritual foundation, not a single speck has been polished. While indulging, life randomly passes day after day. If you are called but do not turn around, what can be done? You should know that if you have not yet met a guiding example, you will be overcome by human emotions. We must pity the foolish child who took the fortune handed down by his wealthy father and, in front of others, uselessly worked digging up filth and excrement. So now, how could we be like this? Appreciate that people of the way who did this job before naturally matched their conduct and their virtue. The great Gishan's realization of the way happened when he was Tenzo. Dongshan's answer, 3 pounds of sesame, was also when he was Tenzo. If you value anything, value realization of the way. If you value any time, value the time realizing the way. As for what remains from cherishing immersion in the way, there is an emanation even from offering sand as if a treasure. We see that often there is a resonance from copying the Buddha's figure and doing prostrations. Even more, this job is the same and it still has the name as what ancestors such as Ginshan and Dongshan did. If you can convey this attitude about this activity, how could the elegance of this way not manifest?